Hello everyone. I Lieutenant Shubham Pratap Singh, Assistant Professor in School of Management, Babu Banarsi Das University. So in this video lecture, I'm going to cover the some topics of financial accounting, that is principles of accounting, that is also known as the concepts and conventions, or generally accepted accounting principles, that is GAAP, GAAP, that is generally accepted accounting principles. So I'm going to cover the topics, that is principles of accounting and concepts and conventions. So let us move on to the next slide. So, meaning of accounting principles. So, accounting is often called the language of business through which a business house communicates with the outside world. So, it will be considered as a business language through which we can communicate with the outside world regarding the financial information, financial position of the business. Means all the financial information relating to an enterprise, relating to a business concern, that will be communicated with the outside world or with the various users or different parties using this language. That will be accounting. So in order to make this language intelligible and commonly understood by all, it is necessary that it should be based on certain uniform, scientifically laid down standards. So, so it is a language which will be communicated with the outside world. So in order to make this language intelligible and commonly understood by all, means it should be understood by all the users. So it is necessary that it should be based on the uniform scientifically laid down standards. Means whatever the standards which will be followed in accounting for recording the business transactions, that will be scientifically laid down standards, or that will be on the basis of uniform principles. So these standards are termed as the accounting principles. So accounting principles refer to the rules and actions adopted by the accountants globally for recording accounting transactions. So these principles may be acceptable or used by the various accountants globally for recording the business transactions. So these are the rules, principles, or the actions which will be adopted by the accountants for recording the business transactions. So the purpose behind formulating these principles is that the business language, that is the accounting, that will be understood by the each and every user of accounting information. In case we will not follow the uniform principle, then it will not be understood by the outside world, because it is a mode or it is a medium of communicating with the outside world. So it should be understood by the various users. So these accounting principles will be classified into two categories, and the two categories are, as you can see here, it is, that is the accounting concepts, and the another is accounting conventions. So these are the two categories of accounting principles. So we will discuss in detail what are the accounting concepts and what are the accounting conventions. So here is the accounting concepts. So accounting concepts are defined as basic assumptions on the basis of which financial statements of a business entity are prepared. So these are the concepts which are defined as the assumptions on the basis of which financial statements, that is trading and PL account and the balance sheet of a business entity, are prepared. Means these financial statements will be prepared based on these assumptions. So accounting concepts will also be known as the basic assumptions on the basis of which the financial statements are prepared. And the another point is they are used as a foundation for formulating various methods and procedures for recording and presenting the business transactions. So they are also used as a base or as a foundation for formulating the various methods and the procedures for recording and presenting the business transactions. So they will be also used as a base. So this is all about the accounting concepts. And another one is the accounting conventions. So as you all know, the accounting conventions are also the another category of the accounting principles. So as you can see, the term convention denotes custom or tradition or practice based on general agreement between the accounting bodies which guide the accountant while preparing the financial statements. So these are the customs or the traditions or practices based on general agreement between the accounting firm. So these conventions or these principles basically prepared on the basis of the agreement between the accounting bodies which guide the accountant while preparing the financial statement. So accounting conventions will also act as a guide to accountants while preparing the financial statement. So it is a guide to the selection or application of a procedure. So that will also guide for selecting or application of a procedure. Whatever the procedure which will be adopted or not, that will be that will work as a guide to the selection or application of a procedure. And in fact, financial statements, namely the profit and loss account and balance sheet, are prepared according to the accounting conventions. So the financial statements will also be prepared according to the accounting conventions or by following the accounting convention. So it's all about the accounting concepts and conventions. So let us move on in detail or in detailed description of the accounting concepts. What are the accounting concepts or the principles available for recording the various transactions? So we will discuss in detail in the upcoming slides. So here you can see these are the accounting concepts which will be followed by the accountants for recording the business transactions. So here you can see there are various concepts are mentioned here. So the first one is, as you can see, here it is, business entity concept, money measurement concept, going concern concept, cost concept, revenue matching concept, realization concept, accrual concept, accounting period concept, and dual aspect. So these are the some concepts which will be followed by the accountants for recording the business transactions. So I'm going to discuss one by one. So here the first concept is, that is business entity concept. So as you can see, as the name suggests, that is the business entity concept. So this concept is all about the business and its owners are two separate existence entity. So when we talk about the business and the owner, business which have a physical existence and it is a artificial person, and its owners are two separate existence entities. So when we talk about the owner and business, so they are the two separate existence entities according to the concept of business entity. Then similarly, the other point is any private and personal incomes and expenses of the owners should not be treated as the incomes and expenses of the business. So in case अगर किसी भी individual और किसी भी owner की personal income या फिर expense है, that will not be treated as a income and expense of the business. Means the transactions of a business will be separately recorded in the books of accounts, and the transactions relating to the owner, that will also be separately recorded in the books of owners. So it should not, we will not be able to mix with the transactions relating to the owner, transactions with the owner and the business. So any private and personal incomes of owner should not be treated as the transactions of the business. So the transactions of owners will be treated differently, and the business is totally. So the next point is, according to this concept, business is treated as an entity separate from its owners. So whatever the business is, maybe I'm the owner of a business. So when we talk about the transactions or the entity, so I'm having a separate existence and my business having a separate existence. So according to this concept, business is treated as an entity separate from its owners. So that will not be same that the owners and the business are same, that will be totally different. And it is treated to have a distinct accounting entity which controls the resources of the concern and is accountable thereof. So when we talk about the business, so it is treated to have a distinct accounting entity which controls the resources of the concern and is accountable thereof. So accounts are kept for a business entity as distinguished from the persons owning it. So means the persons के हमारे जो accounts होंगे, that will be maintained separately, as well as the accounts or the transactions relating to the business entity, that will also be maintained separately. So accounts are kept for business entity as distinguished from the persons owning. सो ओनर्स ऑफ बिजनेस दोनों के ट्रांजेक्शंस को हम सेपरेटली इन सेपरेट बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स ही रिकॉर्ड करेंगे, दोनों को एक साथ रिकॉर्ड नहीं कर सकते अकॉर्डिंग टू द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ द बिजनेस एंटिटी. Then the another point is all transactions of the business are recorded in the books of the business from the point of view of the business. Means whatever the transactions taking place in a business, that will be recorded in the books of the business only from the point of view of the business. कि whatever the transactions, जो भी transactions होंगे आपके relating to a business, that will be recorded in the books of the business only from the point of view of the business, not from the point of view of the owner. That will be specially recorded from the point of view of the business. So it's all about the business entity concept. And the next concept is that is money measurement concept. So as you all know, in case of financial accounting, so the money measurement concept holds that accounting is a measurement and communication process of the activities of the firm that are measurable in monetary terms. Means whatever activities of the business that will be measured or communicated with a predetermined process, or the reporting of the various activities of the firm only measurable in monetary terms. So means money measurement concept tells about whatever the activities that will be measured or communicated with the other users, that will be in monetary terms only. So that will only record those transactions which are in terms of money, not record those transactions which do not in which do not in the form of a money. So all the activities and the information relating to a business, that will be only when recorded when it will be given in terms of money, or it will only record the information in terms of money. Then thus only such transactions and events which can be interpreted in terms of money are recorded. Means सिर्फ हम उन्हीं transactions को record करेंगे, उन्हीं transactions और events को record करेंगे which can be interpreted in terms of money are recorded. So events which cannot be expressed in terms of money do not find place in the books of accounts. Means जो भी transactions आपके monetary terms में नहीं होंगे, so that will not find place in our books of accounts, though they may be very important for the business. हो सकता है कि वो बहुत important हो आपके business के point of view से, but in the case of financial accounting or according to the concept of money measurement concept, कि जो transactions आपके monetary terms में नहीं होंगे, that will not be recorded in our books of account, while they are very important or not. Maybe वो important हो आपके लिए, but इनको हम record अपने books of accounts में नहीं करेंगे. So here are the some examples are also given, such as market conditions. So market conditions will also play a very important role for the growth and survival of a business or success and failure of the business. Similarly, technological changes, efficiency of management, but these would not be disclosed in the accounts because they do not have the monetary measurement. So basically हम इन सारी activities को, market conditions को, technological changes को, efficiency of management को, इन किसी को भी हम monetary terms में measure नहीं कर सकते, or it will not be possible to measure these events in terms of money or in monetary terms. So these transactions or events will not find place in our books of accounts. So it's all about the money measurement concept. So do remember one thing, we only record those transactions which are in terms of money. So we will not be able to record those transactions which cannot be expressed in terms of money. So जो money के terms में नहीं होगा आपका, that will not be recorded in our books of accounts. And the next concept is that is going concern concept. So as you all know कि जब भी हम कोई business start करते हैं, तो क्या कभी हमारा ये एम रहता है कि नहीं आफ्टर 2 years हम इसको वाइंड अप कर देंगे, या आफ्टर 5 years हम इसको वाइंड अप कर देंगे, या फिर हम सिर्फ 2 years के लिए ये बिजनेस स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं या 5 years के लिए बिजनेस स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, ऐसा नहीं होता है. सो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द गोइंग कंसर्न कॉन्सेप्ट, सो बिजनेस ट्रांजैक्शंस आर रिकॉर्डेड ऑन द अजम्पशन दैट द बिजनेस विल कंटिन्यू फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम. मींस जो भी बिजनेस हम स्टार्ट करते हैं, दैट विल बी स्टार्टेड फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम और दैट विल कंटिन्यू फॉर अ लॉन्ग टाइम. So this is an assumption, and this assumption will be taken place while recording the business transactions in our books of accounts. क्योंकि किसी भी owner का ये aim नहीं रहता है कि the business will be established with the aim of doing business for 2 years or 5 years. So basically, while recording the business transaction, we will make an assumption that the business will continue for a long period of time. Then the next point is there is neither the intention nor the necessity to liquidate the particular business venture in the foreseeable future. So when we talk about so there is neither the intention nor the necessity to liquidate the particular business. So ऐसा कभी भी पहले से ही ये intention और ये necessity नहीं होती है कि आपको after that particular period of time आपको अपने business को liquidate कर देना. So there is no neither the intention nor the necessity to liquidate the particular business. And the another point is financial statements should be prepared on an ongoing concern basis. Ongoing concern basis means unless management either intends to liquidate the enterprise or to cease trading or has no realistic alternatives but to do so. Maybe मैनेजमेंट का ये इंटेंशन हो कि वो अपने बिजनेस को लिक्विडेट कर देगा या अपनी ट्रेडिंग करना बंद कर देगा. सो बट उसको जो भी ट्रांजेक्शंस रिकॉर्ड करने हैं दैट द बिजनेस हैव अ continuous existence or that will be started for a long time. Then transactions are recorded in such a manner that the benefits likely to accrue in future from money spent now. Means whatever we are spending now that will give benefit in future. So जो भी हम आज invest कर रहे हैं so उसका जो भी benefit हमको मिलेगा that will be in future. This is the aim behind this concept. Then the future consequences of the events occurring now are also taken into consideration. According to this concept, whatever the future consequences of the events occurring now, कि कोई अगर event आज वो occur हो रहा है तो उसका future में क्या consequences होंगे, so that will also be taken into account according to the going concern concept. So it is all about the going concern concept. So do remember one thing in this in the case of this concept. So all the business which will be started, that will be started for a long period of time. So while we are recording any transactions relating to a business concern, so that will be recorded on the basis of the assumption that the business will continue for a long period of time. So basically हम आज जो पैसा खर्च कर रहे हैं, जो मनी हमने आज स्पेंड किया है, उसका हम फ्यूचर में हमको क्या बेनिफिट होगा हम उसको कंसीडर करेंगे, एज वेल एज जो इवेंट्स आज इनकर हो रहे हैं उन इवेंट्स का फ्यूचर कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज में और फ्यूचर पे क्या इफेक्ट होगा, फ्यूचर के इवेंट्स पे क्या इफेक्ट होगा, दैट विल आल्सो बी कंसीडर्ड अकॉर्डिंग टू द गोइंग कंसर्न. And the next concept is cost concept. So according to cost concept, the various assets acquired by a business concern or firm should be recorded on the basis of the actual amounts involved or spent. So according to the concept, cost concept की जो भी assets हमने acquire की हैं for the business concern or that will be acquired by a business or a firm, that should be recorded on the basis of the actual amounts involved. Means actual पैसा हमने जितना खर्च किया है सिर्फ हम उसी पे उसको रिकॉर्ड करेंगे, that will be known as the cost. So this amount or cost will be the basis for all subsequent accounting for the asset. कि जो actual amount हमने खर्च किया है, जो actual amount involved है in a transaction or in purchasing or selling a particular asset, so this amount or cost will be the basis for all subsequent accounting for the asset. ये subsequent accounting जो भी होगी that will be based on that actual amount or that actual cost. So the cost concept does not mean that assets will always be shown at cost. ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि asset को हमेशा हम cost पे ही show करेंगे. So the fixed assets will be recorded at cost at the time of its purchase. Generally हम fixed asset को जब हम record करते हैं for the first time or at the time of purchase, then it may be recorded at cost. But it may systematically be reduced in its value by charging depreciation. As you all know कि fixed asset पे हम एक certain amount of depreciation charge करते हैं on a year to year basis, so the value of the asset will change. But at the time of purchase, it should be recorded on the basis of the actual amount involved or on the basis of the cost. So here is an example. So the cost of fixed assets is recorded at the date of acquisition cost. The acquisition cost includes all expenditures made to prepare the asset for its intended use. So include the invoice price of the asset, freight charges, इंश्योरेंस और इंस्टॉलेशन कॉस्ट. मींस एक्चुअल कॉस्ट का मतलब सिर्फ ये नहीं है कि उस एसेट को परचेज करने में कितना अमाउंट इन्वॉल्व है, एज वेल एज उसको जहां से आपने परचेज किया है वहां से आपको वहां तक अपनी प्लांट तक और जिस लोकेशन पे आपको इसको इंस्टॉल करना है वहां तक लाने के लिए जो भी फ्रेट चार्जेस आपने पे किए हैं, अगर इन केस उसका इंश्योरेंस करवाया है या इंस्टॉलेशन के चार्जेस कुछ पे किए हैं, so that will also be included in the cost. So the actual amounts involved for uh, installing or preparing the assets for its intended use, that will be considered as a cost, or that will be recorded on the basis of that cost. So I think it is clear to everyone that is the cost concept. And the next is revenue matching concept. So revenue matching concept की बात करें, it is also known as the matching concept. So as you can see, just so revenue matching concept की बात करें अगर हम, this concept is based on accounting period concept. So in order to determine the profit earned or loss suffered by the business in a particular defined accounting period, it is necessary that expenses of the period should be matched with the revenue of that period. So that will be known as the revenue matching. So basically, the expenses or the revenues of that particular period will be matched. So basically हमको क्या करना है कि जब भी हम कोई भी अपने ट्रांजेक्शन्स को रिकॉर्ड करते हैं और जब भी हमको अपने प्रॉफिट और लॉसेस अगर ascertain करने होते हैं, so there will be matching of the revenues and the expenses. So the term matching means appropriate association of related revenues and the expenses. Means what are the revenues and what are the expenses. So therefore, incomes made by the business during a period can be ascertained only when the revenue earned during a period is compared with the expenditure incurred for earning that revenue. So basically, जब भी हमको incomes अपनी find out करनी है कि whatever the incomes made by the business during a particular period of time, so that can be ascertained only when the revenue earned during the period is compared with the expenditure. So revenues and expenditures are compared so that the incomes made by the business can be ascertained. This will be the revenue matching concept. And another is realization concept. So according to this concept, revenue is considered as being earned on the date at which it is realized. That is, it means on the date when the property in goods passes to the buyer and he becomes legally liable to pay. जब हम अपनी goods को जो है अपनी property को buyer को जब provide कर देंगे, then he or she may become liable to pay. So that will be known as the realization. So that the revenue is recognized only when a sale is made, unless money has been realized, that is cash has been received, or a legal obligation to pay has been assumed by the customer. No sale can be said to have taken place and no profit can be said to have arisen. Means जब तक वो realize नहीं हो जाती तब तक हम उसको अपने books of accounts में record नहीं करेंगे और that will not be taken place. That no profit can said to be have arisen and no sale can be said to be have taken place. Suppose कि मैंने assume कर लिया कि in future हमारी इतनी sale होगी. So but अगर हम ऐसे assume कर लेंगे तो जब तक वो realize नहीं होगी, जब तक actual वो property हम बेच नहीं देते, जो उन goods को अगर हम sale नहीं कर देते, तब तक हम उस sale को consider नहीं करते. So it's all about the realization. And another is accrual concept. So every transaction and event affects one or more or all the three aspects. So basically these are the three aspects based on the accounting equation, that is assets, liabilities and capital. So normally all the transactions are settled in cash, but even if cash settlement has not taken place, it is proper to record the transactions or the event concerned into the books. So accrual concept का मतलब यहाँ पे ये है कि ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि जब हम सेटलमेंट कर देंगे उसी के बाद में ही हम किसी ट्रांजेक्शन को रिकॉर्ड करेंगे. सो हम उस केस में उस ट्रांजेक्शन को रिकॉर्ड करेंगे while the settlement is done or not. कि फॉर एग्जांपल सैलरीज की बात करें कि सपोज आपको सैलरीज पे करनी थी बट ड्यू टू सर्टेन रीजंस आप सैलरी पे नहीं कर पाए, तो बेसिकली आप उनको ड्यू सैलरीज में और आउटस्टैंडिंग सैलरीज में ट्रांसफर कर देंगे. दैट इज सैलरी अकाउंट डेबिट टू आउटस्टैंडिंग सैलरी. मींस वो आपकी लायबिलिटी है, दैट विल अफेक्टिंग द लायबिलिटी. वो आपकी लायबिलिटी है, आपको इन फ्यूचर पेमेंट करना है. सो ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर आपने आज पेमेंट नहीं किया इन फ्यूचर में पेमेंट करना है तो आप उस ट्रांजेक्शन को रिकॉर्ड नहीं करेंगे. अगर वो एक्रू हुआ है, उस डेट में इनकर हुआ है, तो आपको उसी डेट में उसको रिकॉर्ड करना होगा. अगर 30th को सैलरी ड्यू हुई है तो 30th को ही आपके बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में वो रिकॉर्ड हो जाएगी. मे बी आप पेमेंट 5 days के बाद में करेंगे, 10 days के बाद में करेंगे, और 30 days के बाद में करें, it doesn't matter. So business transactions are recorded when they occur and not when the related payments are received or made. So इस point का भी मतलब similar है कि हम transactions को उसी date में और उसी time में record करेंगे when they occur. जब भी वो होंगे तभी हम उनको record करेंगे, not when the related payments are received or made. ठीक है, in case अगर आपको payment नहीं भी receive हुए हैं या payment अभी आपने नहीं किए हैं, so ऐसा नहीं है कि हम उन transactions को record नहीं करेंगे. According to accrual concept, these transactions will be recorded in our books of accounts. And this concept is called accrual basis of accounting, and it is fundamental to the usefulness of the financial accounting information. So this is the accrual concept. And the next concept is that is accounting period concept, and the most important one. So it is customary that the life of the business is divided into appropriate parts or segments for analyzing the results shown by the business. So whatever the results of the business, that will be divided into appropriate parts or the segments for analyzing the results. So each part or segment so divided is known as the accounting period. So whatever the performance of the business, that will be reported according to the accounting period. So each part or segment so divided is known as the accounting period. So it is an interval of time at the end of which the income or revenue statement and the balance sheet are prepared in order to show the results of operations and changes in the resources which have occurred since the previous statements have been prepared. So it is an interval of time at the end of which we will prepare the financial statements. These are the trading and PL account or statement of the incomes or revenues and as well as the balance sheets. So this will be known as the accounting period. And normally the accounting period consists of the 12 months. Generally हम जो भी अपने financial statements prepare करते हैं, that will be at the end of a financial year. So the period of accounting will be considered as a 12 months in normal. But when we talk about the accounting period, so it may be quarterly, half yearly, or on a yearly basis. So this is the accounting period, or it is an interval time at the end of which we will prepare the financial statement. This is the accounting period. तो अकाउंटिंग पीरियड कॉन्सेप्ट भी जब भी आप कोई भी बिजनेस करते हैं तो आपको ये अकाउंटिंग पीरियड कॉन्सेप्ट आपका फिक्स रहेगा. मे बी आप 31 दिसंबर को प्रिपेयर करेंगे या 31 मार्च को प्रिपेयर करेंगे, हाफ ईयरली करेंगे, क्वार्टरली करेंगे, ईयरली करेंगे, दैट विल बी डिसाइडेड. And the next is dual aspect principle or dual aspect concept. So dual aspect principle is the basis for double entry system. So it is the basis for double entry system of bookkeeping. So all business transactions recorded in accounts have two aspects. One is receiving benefit and the giving benefit. So as you all know, as I have earlier told you in previous lecture, the double entry system means each and every transaction having two aspects, that is one aspect is debit and another is credit. So here in dual aspect concept, all business transactions recorded in accounts have two aspects. One is receiving benefit and another is giving benefit. So receiving benefit will be debited and giving benefit will be credited based on the golden rules of accounting. So there are certain other rules also. So for example, when a business acquires an asset, so अगर आपने कोई asset acquire किया है, आपके business से कोई asset acquire किया है, that will be receiving of benefit and it must pay cash. जब भी आपका business कोई भी किसी भी asset को अगर acquire कर रहा है, so it must pay cash, that is giving of benefit. So every transaction having two aspects, one is receiving of benefit, another is giving of benefit. As told in this example, as you can see, I'm going to highlight this one. I'm going to highlight this example. This is very important. So as you can see, these are the two aspects of every transaction. One is receiving benefit, another is giving benefit. So this concept is based on the double entry bookkeeping, which means that accounting system is set up in such a way that a record is made of the two aspects of each transaction that affects the record. The recognition of the two aspects to every transaction is known as the dual aspect. So before recording any transaction, it is necessary to recognize both the two aspects of every transaction. That will be known as the dual aspect. कि आपको किसी भी ट्रांजेक्शन को रिकॉर्ड करने से पहले तो वॉट एवर द टू एस्पेक्ट्स आर और three aspects are that will be recognized using the dual aspect. And the next is accounting conventions. So अभी हम लोगों ने यहाँ पे accounting concepts खत्म कर लिया है, so we will move on to accounting conventions. So accounting conventions are the traditions that will be followed by the accountants based on the general agreement of the accounting bodies. So these are the convention of consistency, convention of full disclosure, convention of conservatism, convention of materiality. So these are the some accounting conventions. So we will discuss in detail one by one. So here the first one is convention of consistency. So the consistency convention implies that the accounting practices should remain the same from one year to another. So whatever the accounting practices we are following, that will be remaining same from one year to another. हम ऐसा नहीं कर सकते कि हर ईयर में हम अपनी accounting practices को और अपनी accounting procedures को change कर देंगे, ऐसा possible नहीं है. So according to the convention of consistency, whatever the procedures or whatever the practices we are using, that will be remaining same from one year to the another year. The results of different years will be comparable only when accounting rules are continuously adhered to from year to year. So similar है आपका कि जैसे फर्स्ट पॉइंट में मैंने आपको कहा कि जो भी प्रैक्टिसेस हैं that will be same from one year to another. तो अगर हम अपने रिजल्ट्स कंपेयर करना चाहें, अपने डिफरेंट ईयर्स के रिजल्ट्स कंपेयर करना चाहें, so that will be possible only when the accounting rules are continuously adhered to from one year to another. Means एक साल में जो हमने प्रिंसिपल्स और जो मेथड्स फॉलो किए हैं, that will be same in the another. So ऐसा नहीं है कि हम अगर हर ईयर चेंज करते रहेंगे, so ये कंपैरिजन जो है that will not be possible. And the next is companies should choose the most suitable accounting method and treatments and consistently apply them in every period. So जो भी businesses हैं और जो भी firms हैं, जो भी companies हैं, that should choose the most suitable accounting methods and treatments and consistently use them or consistently apply them in every period. कि जो भी आप मेथड्स यूज कर रहे हैं, सबसे पहले तो आपको मोस्ट सुटेबल मेथड ही यूज करना है, देन उनको कंसिस्टेंटली अप्लाई भी करना है. ऐसा नहीं है कि इस ईयर में हमने डेप्रिसिएशन कैलकुलेट करने के लिए रिटन डाउन वैल्यू मेथड यूज कर लिया, देन नेक्स्ट ईयर में हमने स्ट्रेट लाइन मेथड यूज कर लिया. ऐसा पॉसिबल नहीं होगा. और अगर ऐसा आप करते हैं तो उस केस में जो आपके फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स होंगे उनकी रिलायबिलिटी बहुत कम हो जाएगी. Then the next point is changes are permitted only when the new method is considered better and can reflect the true and fair view of the financial position of the company. So ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि ये बिल्कुल restriction है कि आप method और जो भी आप practices use कर रहे हैं उसमें change नहीं कर सकते. आप change कर सकते हैं but only when the new method is considered better and can reflect the true and fair value of the फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन ऑफ द कंपनी. आप तभी चेंज कर सकते हैं जब वो मेथड आपका पुराने वाले मेथड से डिफर हो और अच्छा हो और दैट विल बी कंसीडर्ड बेटर एंड दैट विल रिफ्लेक्ट द ट्रू एंड फेयर पिक्चर ऑफ द फाइनेंशियल पोजीशन ऑफ द बिजनेस. then we will change the method, otherwise no. Then the rationale behind this principle is that frequent changes in accounting treatment would make the financial statements unreliable to the persons who use them. कि अगर हम convention of consistency follow नहीं करते हैं, so whatever the users of financial accounting information जो कि financial statements को use करते हैं for various purposes, so the financial accounting information will be unreliable. And another is convention of full disclosure. So when we talk about the full disclosure, as the name suggests, so the disclosure of all significant information is one of the important accounting convention. So whatever the important information is, that will be important from the point of view of the investors, from the point of view of the management, from the point of view of the creditors, from the point of view of the taxation authorities. So all the significant information which will be important for the various users, so that will be disclosed or that will be presented in our books of accounts. So this will be known as the convention of full disclosure. Apart from statutory or legal requirements, good accounting practice also demands all significant information should be fully and fairly disclosed in the financial statements. So while ये आपका कोई legal compulsion तो नहीं है कि आपको
ऑल द सिग्निफिकेंट इंफॉर्मेशन आपको शो करनी है। सो ये स्टैट्यूटरी रिक्वायरमेंट तो है ही है कि आपको सारी इंफॉर्मेशन शो करनी है, आप मिसलीड नहीं कर सकते, आप गलत इंफॉर्मेशन नहीं दे सकते अपने फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में। बट गुड अकाउंटिंग प्रैक्टिस ऑल्सो डिमांड्स दैट all significant information should be fully and fairly disclosed in the financial statement. Then it implies that accounts should be prepared in such a way that all material information is clearly disclosed to the reader. तो reader का मतलब है यहाँ पे user कि whatever the accounts we are preparing, that will be prepared in such a way that all material information का मतलब है यहाँ पे all the important information which is having a utility to a user, that will be clearly disclosed in the books of account. The term disclosure does not imply that all information that anyone could desire is to be included in accounting statement. So ऐसा जरूरी नहीं, ऐसा ये convention of disclosure जो है ये बिल्कुल भी नहीं कहता कि किसी भी यूजर को अगर कुछ भी इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए तो दैट विल बी इंक्लूडेड इन फाइनेंशियल अकाउंटिंग स्टेटमेंट्स और फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट। ऐसा नहीं है, बेसिकली हमको सिर्फ और सिर्फ वो सिग्निफिकेंट इंफॉर्मेशन देनी है जो कि हमारे फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में होनी चाहिए। अब ऐसा नहीं है कि आई एम अ इन्वेस्टर इन योर बिजनेस और मैंने कह दिया कि नहीं मेरे को आपका ये वाली इंफॉर्मेशन भी चाहिए, ये भी चाहिए, वो भी चाहिए। सो हमारे अकॉर्डिंग आप फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स प्रिपेयर नहीं करेंगे, हमारी डिजायर के अकॉर्डिंग प्रिपेयर नहीं करेंगे। आपको अकॉर्डिंग टू जो भी आपका बेस्ट पॉसिबल हो सके, जो भी बेस्ट पॉसिबल और जो सिग्निफिकेंट इंफॉर्मेशन है उसको ही आपको डिस्क्लोज करना है। हमारी डिजायर या किसी भी अदर यूजर की डिजायर के अकॉर्डिंग इसको जो है नहीं करना। Then the next is the term only implies that there is a sufficient disclosure of information which is of material interest to proprietors, present and potential creditors and investors. So इस term का मतलब सिर्फ इतना है disclosure का कि सिर्फ और सिर्फ sufficient disclosure होना चाहिए that will be of material interest to proprietors or owners, present and potential creditors and investors. जो इन सारी parties के लिए जो information important है or that will be of a material in nature, that will be disclosed in our financial statements. So the idea behind this convention is that anybody who want to study the financial statement should not be misled, क्योंकि अगर आपने full disclosure किया होगा और all the relevant information will be disclosed in our books of accounts, then the user will not be misled by the financial statement. So the idea behind this convention is that anybody who want to study the financial statement should not be misled. He or she should be able to make a prejudgment. That will be a convention of full disclosure. And another is convention of conservatism. So convention of conservatism tells about the playing safe. Playing safe का मतलब क्या है कि this convention means a caution approach or policy of play safe. So this convention ensures that uncertainties and risk inherent in business transactions should be given a proper consideration. If there is a possibility of loss, it should be taken into account at the earliest. So as you all know कि जब भी हम कोई business करते हैं, there are certain uncertainties. There are uncertainties as well as risk also involved. So whatever the uncertainties and risk involved in business transactions, that will be given a proper consideration. In case अगर किसी business transaction में कोई uncertainty है या कोई भी risk है, so that will be given a proper consideration. So if there is a possibility of loss, it should be taken into account at the earliest. In case अगर आपका risk है, हो सकता है कि आपको इस particular accounting period में loss होगा, then it should be taken into account at the earliest so that the necessary action can be taken. So this is all about the convention of conservatism. Then on the other hand, a prospect of profit should be ignored. बट हमने यहाँ पे लॉस को तो कंसीडर कर दिया कि अगर हमको मालूम है कि इन फ्यूचर हमको कोई पॉसिबिलिटी ऑफ लॉस दिख रही है, so that will be considered. But on the other hand, a prospect of profit should be ignored up to the time it does not materialize. In case अगर हमको मालूम है कि नेक्स्ट ईयर में हमको प्रॉफिट होगा, बट फिर भी हम उसको कंसीडर नहीं करेंगे जब तक कि वो मेटीरियलाइज ना हो जाता या जब तक हमको रिसीव नहीं हो जाता. So on account of this reason, the accountants follow the rule, anticipate no profit but provide for all possible losses. Means हम प्रॉफिट अगर हमको लग रहा है कि अगर हमको प्रॉफिट होने वाला है, So उसको हम इनकम्स गेन्स और प्रॉफिट्स को बहुत ज्यादा कंसीडरेशन नहीं देंगे, बट प्रोवाइड फॉर ऑल पॉसिबल लॉसेस, कि जितने भी पॉसिबल लॉसेस हैं उनको हम वहां पे अपने बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स में शो करेंगे अकॉर्डिंग टू द कन्वेंशन ऑफ कंजर्वेटिव. And the last point and the most important in this in the case of convention of conservatism, that is on the account of this convention, the inventory is valued at cost of market price whichever is less. Inventory की valuation हम किस पे करते हैं? Either on cost, either on market price, whichever is less. कि अगर आपकी cost कम है तो cost पे करेंगे, market price कम है तो market price पे करेंगे. So the effect of the above is that in case of market price has gone down, then provide for the anticipated loss. In case अगर आपकी cost ज्यादा है, if in case अगर आपकी cost ज्यादा है, market price आपका कम है, so that will be lead to anticipated loss. But if the market price has gone up, then ignore the anticipated profits. So anticipated profits को हम ignore करेंगे और anticipated loss को हम यहाँ पे consider करेंगे. Similarly, a provision is made for possible bad and doubtful debts out of current year's profits, so that will be also done using this principle. That is the convention of conservatism. That will be principle of playing safe, or that will be based on the anticipate no profit but provide for all possible. So I think this convention is clear. So the next is convention of materiality. Materiality, according to the convention of materiality, accountants should report only what is material and ignore insignificant details while preparing the final accounts. So जब भी हम final accounts prepare करते हैं, that is trading PL and balance sheet, so सिर्फ और सिर्फ हम वहाँ पे material items और जो हमारी significant information होगी हम उसी को consider करेंगे. Insignificant information की जो details होंगी उनको हम अपने फाइनल अकाउंट्स और अपने फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स में शो नहीं करेंगे अकॉर्डिंग टू द कन्वेंशन ऑफ मैटीरियलिटी. मींस हम सिर्फ और सिर्फ सिग्निफिकेंट इंफॉर्मेशन को ही कंसीडर करेंगे. देन द डिसीजन वेदर द ट्रांजैक्शन इज मैटीरियल और नॉट शुड बी मेड बाय द अकाउंटेंट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ प्रोफेशनल एक्सपीरियंस एंड जजमेंट. तो अभी तो मैंने कह दिया कि सिग्निफिकेंट और इनसिग्निफिकेंट, कि सिग्निफिकेंट इंफॉर्मेशन को आपको रिकॉर्ड करना है, इनसिग्निफिकेंट इंफॉर्मेशन को आपको इग्नोर करना है. अब आप लोगों को डाउट होगा कि भाई क्या क्राइटेरिया है सिग्निफिकेंट और इनसिग्निफिकेंट में जज करने का. तो दैट विल बी ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ जजमेंट ऑफ द अकाउंटेंट, और अकाउंटेंट विल बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर जजिंग द इंफॉर्मेशन वेदर इट इज अ सिग्निफिकेंट और इनसिग्निफिकेंट. दैट विल डन ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ प्रोफेशनल एक्सपीरियंस एंड जजमेंट ऑफ द अकाउंटेंट. This is because otherwise accounting will be unnecessarily overburdened with minute details. In case अगर हम significant as well as insignificant information, that is material or immaterial information, अगर हम सारी information show करेंगे अपने financial statements में, तो उस case में जो हमारे financial statements होंगे that will be overburdened. So there is no formula in making a distinction between material and immaterial events. तो मटेरियल और इमटेरियल इवेंट्स को आइडेंटिफाई करने का कोई भी ऐसा स्पेसिफिक फॉर्मूला नहीं है, कोई भी ऐसा स्पेसिफिक मेथड नहीं है जिसके बेसिस पे हम ये आइडेंटिफाई कर सकें कि वेदर द इंफॉर्मेशन इज मटेरियल वन और इमटेरियल वन. सो इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ जजमेंट, इट इज अ मैटर ऑफ जजमेंट एंड इट इज लेफ्ट टू द अकाउंटेंट फॉर टेकिंग अ डिसीजन. सो इट विल बी टोटली डिपेंड ऑन द decision taken by the accountant. So it should be noted that an item material for one concern may be immaterial for another. So ये भी आपको ध्यान रखना होगा कि एक आइटम जो है material हो सकता है और significant हो सकता है for one concern and may be immaterial or insignificant for another concern. So similarly, an item material in 1 year may not be material in the next year. Means significant in 1 year may not be significant in the next year. So ये सिर्फ और सिर्फ accountant ही decide करेगा कि whether the information is material one or whether the immaterial. So it's all about the materiality. हम यहाँ पे जो भी हमारी significant और जो material information होगी उसको हम record करेंगे अपने books of accounts में according to the convention of material. So it's all about the principles of financial accounting or principles of accounting, that is concepts and conventions. So the whole accounting practices will be depend on these principles, that is accounting and concepts. So that's all. Thank you all. We will meet again in next video lecture.